So, yes, I have been thinking about this. It's been on my mind for a few weeks now. A few weeks, obviously, Super Bowl's over and done with. Kansas City is once again Super Bowl champions. And my thought process is how the Bills have been cursed and the current Josh Allen problem. And then it hit me. Could Josh Allen be cursed? Well, we're going to dive into Josh Allen. We're going to dive into these Bills. And we're going to talk about it on a Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you do subscribe, click that bell, turn on your notifications so you don't miss a stream. With that said, it's very easy to start this off just by knocking the Bills and saying that Josh Allen is, obviously a great quarterback and he just had a bad time at it and just had a bad season. But I really feel like it goes a little bit beyond that. I feel like it goes beyond the fact of just saying, "Hey, let's get him next year," or "Trust in the process," or "Are you a true believer?" I think that's playing in the faces of fans. I think that's playing in the faces of the individuals who have not only invested in this franchise but poured their heart into this franchise for years as fans and as fans of this team, and the players and the coaching staff and countless hours of emotions that have been built into um obviously this fandom, right? This energy, and that goes for any team. It's not just for the Bills. So the question that I have, whether you listen to the stream now or if you listen to it later, you catch it later. The question that I have for you guys tonight is, has Josh Allen learned from his failures? And I don't say that from a point of, oh, let me increase my stats, or let me don't throw it here because I feel like I'm going to force it and throw a pick. I don't mean like that. What I mean is, has Josh Allen learned from his failures as a team, as a whole? Be it coaching decisions, be it Stephon Diggs, be it Von Miller, be it losing Matt Milano, be it losing Tre'Davious White. Has Josh Allen learned through his failures? And I think that's an important question because there's so many different ways that you can go about it. So, I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that Josh Allen is cursed. I'm saying that Josh Allen is cursed because of the Bills' curse. Now, let's dive into it. We know the story. We know the issues. We know the problems. We know the just getting there and just getting to the point of one more game, two more games, and then obviously end up coming up short. And then everybody's sitting there with, the disgusted face because of where the Bills are. So before I start breaking things down, I'm going to go ahead and address these comments because I knew this was coming. I was mentally prepared for this. Let me hop into these comments real quick before I continue going. Dolphins Furthermore says, I'm a true Bills fan. I ain't stopping being a mafia. Not at all. Not at all. Shout out to you, man. Dave says, Josh Allen cursed. Bill's been cursed before Josh was ever born. That's a fact. Dave says, just blame it on Diggs. There's a lot of blame to go around. Maybe put a roof on the stadium. Froon says, what up? What up, Froons? Shout out to you, yo. Nancy. Here we go. Nancy says, Josh Allen is not cursed. Josh Allen is blessed, and the Bills are blessed to have him. Jay, your caps lock is stuck. Use your words carefully. Don't use bless Josh Allen to market your business. Nancy, me and you, I feel like me and you got a love-hate relationship. 1 minute you love me, next minute you hate me. And listen, I'm not here to bash your precious Josh Allen. That's not what I'm doing tonight. What I'm saying is, The Buffalo Bills have a curse. We all know this. This is not anything new. The Buffalo Bills curse has now turned into the Josh Allen curse. Do I want Josh Allen to be cursed? No. Am I wishing for their curse to be on Josh Allen? No. But the reality is, we now have the Josh Allen curse. And how is that going to be fixed? How is that going to be broken? How are we going to break the chains, Nancy? That's what we're getting into tonight. So I don't want you to think it's in any negative way towards Josh Allen. I love the guy. I appreciate his talent, everything that he does in the field. But the reality is, there is a getting to that point and not being able to execute issue here that we need to address and we need to talk about. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Shout out to you, Nathan. What's going on, man? Tyrone says Diggs was open in the end zone. Not y'all bringing up one specific plays. Buffalo has been so good for these dumb curses to be strong the way it is. Josh was cursed when he went to You guys are taking me off point here. All right, let me get back to it. Let me reel this back in. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am not saying that Josh Allen is the reason for the curse. All right. Don't get it confused. Don't get it mixed up. All right. Let's stay focused here. We know that the Buffalo Bills have the issue, and people always get mad at me because for some reason I'm not kissing the team's ass. This is the reality. Okay. We understand that when the Bills get to a certain point, AFC championship, all right, fine, we get their win. And then when we get to the postseason, the destruction happens, the issues happen, the not being prepared happens, the frozen in time moments is what happens. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. So don't get it confused. Don't get mad. Don't get upset. That's just the reality of it. Just the reality of it. CMC says, Niner fan, obviously, but I feel the pain. SB cursed. Hey, they said that the 49ers are now the Bills of the NFC, my friend. That's what they said. That's what they said. Let's go ahead and get into these stats because I want to start here. I think this is very, very important. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. Josh Allen, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Allen. I'm not going to look too much at 2019 and 2020, right? Obviously, 2020 was probably his best year throwing wise and all that good stuff. So we're going to move on from that, right? We're going to move on from that. Well, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's digest it just a little bit, right? He was 396 of 572 on the attempts. He had a 69.2% completion percentage. He had 4,554 yards. He averaged 7.9. Touchdowns were 37. Interceptions were 10. His long was 55. He was sacked 26 times. He ended the season with a 76.6. Then obviously you guys know how that year ended. All right. Going into 21, he played 17 games, 409 on the completion, 646 on the attempts, 63.3 on the completion percentage, 4,407 yards, 6.8, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He was sacked 26 times. Ended with a QBR of 66.3. 2022, 359 completions, 567 attempts, 63% completion percentage, 4,283 yards. Now, I want to stop here and just digest the completion percentage, right? He's always stayed in between the 60 and 70 mark for the most part, right? That's the average, between 60 and 70. So when people say that, well, Joe Brady's going to come in and change things and he's worked on his accuracy, well, that's essentially stayed the same. It hasn't really changed, right? And I don't think anybody really has any true gripes with Josh Allen's accuracy unless we then get into the interceptions, right? Because that's always the biggest thing that people love to talk about. So then if we get into the interceptions, we're looking at 10, 15, 14, and now obviously the most that he's thrown in the last 6, 7 years here. So you got 18 interceptions, 385 completions, 579 attempts, completion percentage of 66.5, 4,306 yards. His average was 7.4. Touchdowns were 29. Interceptions were 18. Now, I haven't got into the running yet. Obviously, we know that the rushing and all that stuff, needs to be included as well, right? So let's go ahead and look at that. Let's go ahead and get into that, the rushing side of things. As far as the carries, 102, 122, 124, 111. The yards, 421, 763, 762, 524. Average, 4.1, 6.3, 6.1, 4.7. Touchdowns, 8, 6, 7, 15, going into 23. His long was 24, 34, 44, and then 23. The fumbles, 4, 5, 8, and then 5. So when we talk about the consistency of Josh Allen, when we talk about what's expected as far as of a quarterback of his level, who's been nothing short of absolutely amazing as far as for arm strength, as far as with decision making in tight moments, and when you start looking at all the opportunities that has been presented to Josh Allen in some of these high pressure, high intensity games, are we calling the right plays? Are we making the right designs for Allen to figure out who to get this ball to? Now, if we're going to start throwing people under the bus, well, obviously we got to talk about Stephon Diggs, right? That's another person that we need to talk about, we need to address, we need to get into, because it's been a conversation that people have been upset about, right? What happened to this man and why hasn't he been able to show up the way that he needs to? Well, we get into Stephon Diggs as far as production, right? Starting here from 2020, 1,535 yards. 2021, he had 1,225, 1,429, and then he dropped down to 1,183. Barely broke, over 1,200 yards there. His average was 11.1. He had 8 touchdowns. His long was 55, and he had 2 fumbles, which is the most that he's had since he came with the Bills. So when we start looking at things like this and we start understanding production as far as from a specific individual who's supposed to be a veteran and who's supposed to be playing at a superstar level, this is where we need to deep dive and really understand the problems that the Bills are actually having. So before I continue on with this and get into Gabe Davis next, I'm going to hop back into the comments. Floyd says it's not a curse. The Bills are a soft finesse team. Fix that and you fix the team. That's an interesting take. When you say soft finesse, though, can you give me more of an explanation on that? What do you mean by soft finesse? Because there's so many different ways that you can read into that. Dave says Rex Ryan cursed the Bills. Nathan says, hold on, when did Josh Allen turn into Matt Ryan? Wow. Not Matt Ryan. Benham says, wait, what if the Bills don't lose, though? What happens then? Does that break the curse? Well, I think so, right? I think that's the point of what we're looking at, right? That's always the conversation. Bills get to, AFC Championship. They win. Everybody's hyped up. Everybody's ready to go. This is our year. And then essentially, the worst happens. They end up losing. And then we have the conversations as far as, well, Josh Allen didn't do this. Josh Allen didn't do that. Well, maybe we should have ran more. Well, maybe it was the defense because the defense is injured. At what point do we start taking the blame off of certain people at a lower level and start saying, all right, well, if we're not going to say it's Josh Allen because he's done the best that he can with what he's given in regards to the personnel, in regards to the offensive coordinator, and they've designed a game around him that is balanced and that is making him productive to a level that the team can go out there and win, and it doesn't happen, well, then who do we start pointing the finger at? We look at Ken Dorsey. All right, Ken Dorsey's gone. All right, fine. We bring in Joe Brady. Joe Brady, brings in, gets a couple wins, and then at that point, we think that everything's fixed. We think that everything has changed. The curse is broken. We've been delivered by Joe Brady. We get to the AFC Championship. It looks very interesting. We're not really sure who's going to win it. Bills go on, win. Everybody's excited. Everybody's ready to go. And we've done just good enough. And my question to the Bills fans, right? My question to Bills Mafia is being just good enough okay? Is making it to be AFC champions okay? Is that it? Are you content with that? Because I feel like the conversations that I've been having with multiple people, multiple individuals who are Bills fans, who aren't Bills fans, and who are in between, there's been a level of certain people who were complacent. There was a level of certain people who were okay. And there was a level of people who were not okay with it. So at what point do you sit back and you start saying, okay, well, AFC Championship doesn't really mean anything, and it's just good on paper? At what point does it matter? Shout out to Robert, says, hey, Jay, just sticking my head in to say hello and to say the New York Rangers had the best comeback victory in the NHL Stadium series last night at MetLife Stadium. Let's go Rangers. Shout out to you, Robert. Josh Allen, great arm, even better legs. Of course. Right? So the concept of where this is going is we're trying to break down the fact of the Bills curse and how that's now transferred over to Josh Allen. Right? I don't want anybody to get anything as far as confused. I'm not wishing bad on Josh Allen. It's not what I'm doing here. But as they say, families and life and things like that, things are passed down. And one of those things are generational curses. That bad habit that you picked up that you didn't really pay attention to, that your dad did, that your uncles do, that your granddad did, or that little twitch that you may have that you got from someone in your family, this generational stuff, curses. Well, that's what I'm getting at here when I say that we're now at the Josh Allen curse, right? It's the hype. It's the energy. It's the falling in love with this person because you expect them to go out there and be so great. And then you get heartbroken at the end of the season. That is where we are. That is the curse in itself. And that's what we're digesting right now. And as far as understanding, as far as how this thing is going. With that said, Floyd says the Bills have either had bad losses or tough wins. When other people punch them in the mouth, go watch the Jets in one game as an example of what I'm talking about. And that is, I think, definitely an underlooked thing, right? I definitely think the divisional games are certainly overlooked because you have a lot of people who make fun of the Bills for those games. Oh, you lost, you lost to the Patriots, or you lost to the Jets, or you almost lost to Miami. Not realizing that the divisional opponents are obviously, not only the most important, but the toughest because they know your weaknesses, they know your strengths. You play them multiple times, and even the coaching at that level is just so different because it's more of a chess match than what some of these other matches are. And I think the reality is this: when you start to look at and really start to understand as far as whether or not the Bills have trouble in Highmark Stadium versus being on the road, it starts to turn into, okay, well, we understand that Josh had a good game or Josh had a decent game. Why was it so close? All right, so then we get into the conversation as far as the defense and the injuries and things like that. Now, people know we had the conversation as far as Sean McDermott, and a lot of people hated what I said. And I said that Sean McDermott, I don't think he really had it in him to get the Bills to the Super Bowl. I didn't think he did it. I didn't think that he could. I didn't think that he had it in him to do it. And unfortunately, it was once again proven. But I was harped on about it. I had people in the inbox going crazy, and that was fine. I deal with it every season. It's fine. But then, as soon as the Bills lost to Kansas City, guess what I seen in my timeline? Sean McDermott needs to go. Von Miller needs to go. Stephon Diggs needs to go. We need to rehaul everything. Why is it that certain scenarios and certain situations work so well when other people want it to, but when it's brought to their attention before it happens, it's harder for them to believe? It's harder for them to believe, and then the masses will follow along when certain individuals make it make sense. But you could have the guy with the blowhorn telling you, hey, this is what's going on, pay attention. I'm like, nah, I don't care what he said. But then this guy over here says it, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, all right. And then it's just funny to me. It really is. It's really funny to me. And I don't get mad or I don't get upset about that garbage. It doesn't mean shit to me. I think the reality, though, is when we see these conversations and when we understand them, and then we realize that if a certain individual who is not only a part of a team is supposed to lead them to the ultimate goal, which is the Lombardi Trophy, not a championship, the Lombardi Trophy, right? The AFC East Championship or champions is great. It's great to have. It means that you took the necessary steps to get your team prepared to go win the playoffs and then the Super Bowl. The AFC East Championship or the championship for any division is not the end-all, do-all. You did not complete your job by getting the team just to a championship. It's to get to the Super Bowl. So I don't understand why people were so upset and why they were so mad at me when I said what I said, when it was proven. It was proven once again. So the question, like I said, number one question is, has Josh Allen learned from his failures? And then number two, is Sean McDermott still the coach for the job? Do you guys still believe in Sean McDermott? Well, let's break that down, right? Because someone's going to say, well, Jay, the defense sucked and we had so many injuries and that's why the Bills didn't win. All right, fine. In this season, this upcoming season, 2024 to 2025, Matt Milano comes back. Tre'Davious White comes back. Hopefully he's able to play at a level that he can. Maybe we make some adjustments and things like that. We pick up some other people that can potentially add to the depth. We hopefully can restructure Von Miller's contract, right? We do that. Maybe can save some money. Hopefully, who knows? Probably won't happen, but that's just the reality of it. Let's just say, because this is all about hypotheticals, right? Let's just say that the defense is back healthy. Everything's okay. Everything's working for the most part. Defense is back. Offense is okay. Offense is good. Once again, you get to the AFC East Championship, you win, you're once again AFC East champions, you then go into the postseason. You make it to a divisional or you make it to AFC Championship before the Super Bowl and you lose once again. Who do you pin that on? Who's responsible for that? Who needs to take accountability? Or do you just chalk it up as one more time that, oh, it just wasn't their year? Because I can tell you this, if it happens that way, that's when you start having the conversations about Sean McDermott, and that's when you start having the conversations about the Pagulas and whether or not, well, Terry, whether or not Terry is able to make an executive decision in regards to Sean McDermott, because now the fans are upset, now the fans are angry, and now they're looking for someone to put the blame on, right? You can't blame Joe Brady. You can't blame the defensive coordinator. Who do you put the blame on now? Because obviously we know that we know that Bean as well as McDermott is a package deal. We get that. So, yeah, it is a big decision, and I understand it. And I do understand that the Bills have probably been in the best situation for almost the last 30 years. Fine, I'll give you that. But how long is being mediocre going to be okay? This is a legit question. Are you okay with just being AFC East champions for the next 10 years? It's a solid question. Because what's the shelf life of Josh Allen? Huge running quarterback with a great arm. What is the lifespan of Josh Allen as an NFL quarterback before he's peaked and reached his prime? Anybody want to answer that? We get into these comments. Says it's Diggs not being hungry or a dog. Well, that's one player. That's one player. I agree. Bullet says we need a better plays for the running game. Bills run straight up, no counters or anything. Well, I mean, I think that definitely goes back into the conversation that they were just having in regards to the Bills playing soft, right? Where we at? Shout out to Jonas. What up, man? Shout out to you. Says they need to bring in a bill to help those Buffalo Bills. Just for him to teach Allen how to read a defense faster, kind of like Tom Brady. You know what's funny? I think the Bills Mafia, the fan base, would not allow Bill Belichick to come in this town. There is such a level of hatred. There is such a level of disgust for Bill Belichick that they would not allow this man to come into town at the expense of even getting this team to a Super Bowl. You'd have some people that would be fine with it. You'd have some people that would, rejoice over it. But Bill Belichick coming into Buffalo and having any kind of significant role in that team, even a defensive coordinator, right? If he was to come in, or just at that level, if he was to come in, it would be pandemonium. People would riot over that fact. It would never happen. It would never happen. Never happen. AWOL, what up, yo? What's going on with you? Says, I feel like a stronger run game could help Buffalo, but that really goes for any Super Bowl contender. Most championships come down to defense and the run game. So I kind of agree, but I don't. And I'll tell you why. Kansas City's run game was trash. And they won the Super Bowl. Pacheco had the hardest time to get anything going. And it really wasn't until the end of the game until, Pacheco got a few runs. But even then, it was hit or miss. He wasn't going off like how he did against us or those other teams in the regular season. He really, really struggled. So Patrick Mahomes had to go out there and find a way to win. And that's the reality of this conversation and why we're having it. Josh Allen has the inability to find a way to win in these big games. We talked about Kansas City and Bills, right? Bills beat Kansas City in the regular season by 3. Well, okay, so now they face off in the divisional round, and then obviously the Bills lose to them by 3. So this comes down to, and not even that. They beat the Bills by 3 at Highmark Stadium in the Bills' home. You got everything you wanted. You got Kansas City. I wanted Kansas City. You guys know I said it all throughout the season. I said I want Kansas City. We finally got it. We got them at home. You wanted them at home. If you in a playoff game, you in a divisional, you in a championship, whatever it is, you want to play at home. You got Kansas City. You already beat them. You're playing at home. It's perfect weather for football in Buffalo. It's perfect weather. It's exactly what you want. It's the perfect scenario. It is a textbook situation for the Bills. Your X factor is the defense. Okay. Banged up defense loses by 3 points. That lets me know that it wasn't really about the defense per se. This was in regards to someone stepping up on offense which, if we want to point fingers, you can point them directly at Stephon Diggs. Someone stepping up on offense and putting up more points. And you can get into the kick by Tyler Bass and all that kind of stuff, whatever. I tell you guys all the time, I never want to be in a situation where you got to rely on the kicker for the damn game. Sometimes you do. I get it. But I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I'd want to put up enough points to where, listen, they got to come down the field and fucking put up 7. All right. They got to put up 7 damn points and get the ball back in OT or something to win this game. Not, okay, field goal wins, and that's just what it is. Or field goal miss, and that's just what it is. No. Touchdown victory, put up enough points, and I said it at the beginning of the season. If you put up enough points, if you put up 35 points, if you average those amount of points, you don't put yourself in a situation to where a team can beat you, or they won't even have a chance to come close, because you will demoralize them. You will psych them out. You will make them feel that the game is further out of reach than what it is. When you keep a team that close throughout the whole game, well, guess what? Somebody somewhere is going to do what you can't. Somebody somewhere is going to find that strength. They're going to find that energy to go out there and take the momentum to win the game. And that's what we see. Why is it that when we get to these points in the postseason, the Bills cannot find a way to dig out of that grave, to have that one individual who can go out there and be the playmaker that they need to get over that hump? Well, Jay, that was supposed to be Stephon Diggs. Well, he didn't do it. So who the hell is there? Dalton Kincaid? Well, he's a rookie. So sure, can he do it? I'm sure he could, but is he expected to? Probably not. It's just the reality of it. You expect him for some plays and, make some good plays because he's got good hands, he's big, he's physical. But the reality is you're not expecting him to make that one big play to win the game, right? You would expect Knox. You would expect Stephon Diggs. You would expect Allen. You would expect James Cook. This is the reality where we are. Shout out to you, Jeff King. Says, with all due respect, F. Belichick couldn't stomach it at any cost. See? Shout out to you, Jeff King. But that's my point, right? That's my point. At the end of the day, because of the experience that Bills fans have had with the Patriots, we wouldn't want Bill Belichick here just because of the way that makes you feel. It's kind of like, it's almost like, someone's beat you up, right? This bully has beat you up and now you're going to let him stay in your house? Hell no. It's just not going to happen. Shout out to you, Jeff. Much love, you. Chris says, Jay, my brother, it's all going to be Bills. Okay, next year is our year. I like it. AWOL says, Jay, I came in late. Are you saying Jay Allen ain't it, or you think Buffalo needs more offensive weapons? I am not saying Josh Allen is an it. What I'm saying is, we understand generational curses, right? We all know that's a thing. I don't think anybody cannot say that they don't know that's a thing. I gave the example earlier if you missed it. The generational curse of the Bills has been handed down now on a silver platter to Josh Allen, right? Can you imagine? Let's just take it back to those who watched the 4 Super Bowls in the 90s. Can you imagine? You know how it felt for you to watch the game and watch the Bills lose. Imagine being the quarterback in the Super Bowl. You put in all this work to get there 4 times and you lost 4 times in a row. Imagine feeling the way Jim Kelly felt. Imagine how the team felt, right? Now, fast forward to now. You've got Josh Allen, right? AFC East champion, right? Get to the playoffs, almost there. It's the same damn feeling, except he just didn't get to the show. All the pressure, all the hype. This is our year. Trust the process. Believe. That's what we're talking about tonight. So it's not about Josh Allen not being it, but it's more so, are the Bills going to get to a point to where we waste Josh Allen's talent? We waste Josh Allen's potential. Are we going to get to a point to where we're sitting back and we're watching a game and we're like, damn, I've never seen Allen play like this in my life. Or I have not seen Allen play like this in his entire career. Because the moment we get to that point is the moment that he's done. Everyone has a shelf life, especially with the way that he plays, right? Listen, we get he's a great arm, he can run, generational talent. There's very rare that you find a quarterback like Josh Allen. But there's a damn shelf life to this man. He's not going to be out there for 15 years running and taking hits the way that he is right now. So at what point do you sit there and you say, all right, enough's enough? If you can't, if the coaching staff can't get this team and this man to a Super Bowl and make sure that he has the necessary pieces to, then what the hell is the organization doing? That's the conversation. Let me hop back into these comments. Jeff King says, I'm tired. I want domination for 1 year, just 1 year. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to George, says, we'll send Pete and the Beast. You know what's funny is I met Marshawn, and he's always been an amazing man. I met Marshawn at a casino when he was actually in Buffalo. He had a house out in Hamburg, but he would go down to the casino, and this is when this is a little bit before, but he would go down to the casino. He'd always chill out and stuff like that. And I actually ran into him. We talked and all that kind of stuff. He's always been great. I loved when Beast Mode was here, and then it was really upsetting to me that when he left. But how many times have we seen that as well? How many players have the Bills had that were great that left and went somewhere else and got a damn ring? I love Stephon Gilmore. I thought he was definitely one of the best in the defensive game ever. And what did he do? Went to the Patriots and got a damn ring. That's the reality of it. You go and look at Zach Moss, right? And I love the Singletary and Zach Moss combination. Zach Moss went over to the Colts. He's doing amazing. He's doing great. There has to be a question as far as, the decision making from the executive level. There has to be a question as far as, all right, if you got this person who can leave the team and they go out and they do this and they do that and they get all these damn accolades, why couldn't you keep them? And I get contracts coming to the play as far as, money and things like that. I totally get it. But at what point do you have this solid team and once again, you just can't get the job done? You just can't get to that point where, all right, this person can step up and we can get to the next level and walk out of a stadium with that Lombardi. Nathan says, I imagine Allen will, with 49ers offense, with Bills defense, he would be eating great. Chris Hall says, Josh Allen's just warming up. He is good to turn on the afterburners. This be the year. Okay. So, once again, nobody's really answered my question yet, and I get why. But my question still stands. Has Josh Allen learned from his failures? And when do you think Sean McDermott deserves to be on the chopping block for not getting his organization to a Super Bowl? At what point of reference? 10-year mark? 15-year mark? How many years? Shout out to Jeff King. Says nobody remembers second place. Nobody cares about division champs. It's time to get it done. If not this year, no more excuses. McDermott has to go. I realize the backlash, but F you all. I want a Lombardi, nothing short of that. Listen, I've said it time and time again. I've said it realistically about 20 times now. on a live stream. I don't think that Sean McDermott is the man for the job. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I even think that he can get, the defense ready to go. Because if he was going to do it, he's had 7 years to do it, and it hasn't been done. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't want to see him do it. That's not to say that he's not a good person, right? I'm not attacking his character. I'm not attacking his moral values. I mean, he did say some stupid shit, but we'll just leave it like that. But I'm not attacking him from a personal character point of view, because for some reason, when we have these conversations, people get all stupid and shit, and they act like I'm talking about this man in some way, shape, or form that I shouldn't be, and I'm attacking him when I'm not. What I'm saying is, Sean McDermott has proven to us that he is not the man to get the job done year after year. AFC East champions, all right, fine. Okay. I feel like Rex Ryan could have did that with the talent that the Bills have right now. That's just the reality of it. Fuck it. Bring Marv Levy back. He could have did it. So that's not specifically a Sean McDermott achievement. I think the difference is whether or not, because someone's going to Jay, well, if we get rid of Sean McDermott, who would you get? I don't know. Because right now, there really isn't anybody that I could think of that could get the damn job done. But guess what? He's not it either. So maybe, Nick Saban, let's get him on the damn phone. Let's call Nick Saban. He might be able to do it. That's the reality of it. I think that's where we are. And that's not to discredit the man, because, hey, I would like to see him holding the damn Lombardi trophy. But if he can't get it done, once again, let's find somebody who can. Because the reality is this, like I said before, everybody has a shelf life. How long is Matt Milano going to last? Tre'Davious White's coming back. He's not going to play at 100%. It's just not going to fucking happen. Russo and all them, listen, as each season goes by, you get older. As each season goes by, there's more wear and tear on the body. So all these names that we hear now, we're not going to be hearing all these names in 6-7 years from now. When is the time for this team to get it done? That's the reality of it. When is the time for this team to get it done? And when is it going to be a true deep dive into whether or not, from an executive level, this team has what it takes? I'm not knocking Josh Allen. I'm not knocking Gabe Davis. I'm not knocking Shakira. I'm not knocking Johnson. Do I think Von Miller should still be with us? No. I get the salary cap and the contracts and all that play into it, and we may have to deal with it for a while, and that's just the reality of it. Stephon Diggs, I don't think he can do it. I don't think he has it in him no more. And that's not me knocking him, because when he wants to be great, I think he can be great. I think he can go out there and ball. But I also do think there's a point in every superstar athlete's career where they lose the hunger. They got the money, they got the woman, they got the commercials, they got the accolades. At what point, if you make $1 billion, does it matter to you that you get the Lombardi? We do have the rare exception where you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who got paid what he was worth, and then he consistently went out there and won. But then I look at who's coaching him. Andy Reid. If Andy Reid was on the Bills, Josh Allen would probably have 2 Super Bowl wins. That's the reality of it. That's where we are. And if you can tell me that Sean McDermott's Andy Reid, I may be able to rock with you as far as the argument in regards he needs to stay. But Sean McDermott's not Andy Reid. Sean McDermott doesn't have that heart. Sean McDermott doesn't have that fight. And saying stupid shit in the locker room doesn't make the team win. It's your decisions out on the field and what you draw together when it comes to these game plans that get you to win. You can like the guy, you can love the guy, you can hate me for what I'm saying. Reality is, I don't care. But the question is, if the Bills don't make it next year, are you going to sit there and be like, Jay was right? Or are you just going to go on about your day and say what I've been saying, but only in your mind? It's a true question. True question. Jeff says, no, Jay, I agree. He's a man of high moral caliber, and I respect that. However, I want a trophy for the fans and more importantly for that city. Yeah, it goes beyond just winning, right? And I think that's a big part of it that's left out. The Super Bowl is fine. Getting Lombardi was fine. But the winning at that stage and at that level for so many individuals. And, it's not even just about the Bills because we look at the grand scheme of things, right? That's for every team, even the Lions, right? We look at the Lions. They've kind of went through the same situations that, the Bills have. That's for any organization who has gone through what, the Bills have or the Lions or the Browns for that matter. And when you start to really understand the way that these teams have went through their trials and tribulations. Well, okay, we have the right team right now. Can we get it done? Right? We got the right quarterback. We got the right running back. We got the right tight end. We got the right defensive back. We got the right cornerback. Do we have the right coach? Right? Because if we dive out of the Bills for a little while and we talk about the Lions, I respect Dan Campbell for the heart and the energy. I wish Sean McDermott had 10% of that fight and the tenacity that Dan Campbell has. But it's like the polar opposite, right? Sean McDermott, calm, quiet, a little bit reserved. Dan Campbell, hype, all in your face, rah, coach, It's the polar opposites. And the thing about Dan Campbell is he's too much of what he is, and it ends up hurting him. That I'm going to keep going for it no matter what, even though I should kick the field goal. Or I'm going to go for it here on fourth down when I know I shouldn't, but we're going to get it because I believe in these guys instead of playing a little bit of smarter football. And then on the flip side, you've got Sean McDermott, who's like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm going to play it safe. I'm not doing it. So like I said, when you get the checks and balances of both these individuals and you look at the dynamics of the two, you start realizing that, oh, okay, it makes sense because this individual is right there as well. They're both right there, but for completely different reasons. It's just the reality of it. Quick shout out to Frederica coming through with the $10 super chat. Says, what's good, Jay and the Wrench Gang? Miss y'all. Shout out to you, Frederica. Much love to you. Baltimore Ravens fan in the house. Let's go. Let's go. Sal says McDermott blew one chance for a Super Bowl. How many does he get? And that's the question, right? I'm not sitting here telling you guys that I don't like the man. I'm not sitting here telling you that I don't think he deserves, to take this team to a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that at all, right? Because a lot of people take what I say and get all upset about it, and they'll hit me up in the DMs, and then we got to have a long conversation about it. Listen, we've came into a society where people hate tough love. People don't want to deal with tough love. They don't want to hear it. They want everything to be, Sunday afternoon, warm cookies and, cold ice cream. That's not what life is, unfortunately. All right. Life isn't always about cookies fresh out the oven and ice cream and unicorns and rainbows and shit. Okay. When we're having these conversations, it's coming from a point of I want to see the team do better. I want to see the organization do better. And at what point do you feel the need to move on? Because I can break this down in so many different situations. So, when you have a situation where I don't know, let's just say you're in a toxic situation. I'm not going to go too deep into it. Let's say you're in a toxic situation, male or female, whatever. And you've been in that toxic relationship for 10 years, right? You've stuck it out. Oh, we're going to get through it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm going to change them. And da 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 da. And it's okay. And da, da. At what point did you say, I'm done? Was it the 11th year? Was it the 12th year? Did you go 15 years? My point is, you've seen the red flags and you chose to continue on with that. You chose to stick around in the pain. And then someone's going to be like, well, Jay, if you don't want to be a Bills fan anymore, you don't have to. You can choose all the 30. You can choose the 32 other team. Listen, shut up. I don't hear that shit. I'm telling you a story. You sat in this relationship for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever the hell it is. You went through the ups and downs. You went through the pain. You went through the problems. You went through all this stuff. And you still believed in this person. And at the end of the relationship, they showed you their ass. And you had the moment, you had that brief moment where you sat there and you was like, damn, I knew that I should have moved on. And unfortunately, that's where I'm at with Sean McDermott. So there you go. There you go. Sal says, I would have fired McDermott after the 13-second debacle. Call me whatever you want. Listen, there was people calling for him being fired during that, and that's before I even said it. I didn't even say it after that. I griped about it, but I didn't say anything about him actually, keeping his job or anything like that. Because don't get me wrong, I never want to see I don't want to take food off anybody's table, as I don't want anybody taking food off my damn table. So I get it. But the reality is this. If you're the man for the job, okay, then you should get paid for the job. If you sow the seed, you should reap the benefits. And if you're not sowing the seed, you shouldn't reap the benefits. And that's just the reality of it. Maybe you don't need to be a head coach. Maybe you're good at being a defensive coordinator. That's just the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. But yeah, I definitely, there's some people who wanted him going after the 13-second debacle. There's some people who wanted him going after, the AFC Championship loss to the Chiefs. And I will say this. With all the talk about, the Bills and the defense and the injuries and Sean McDermott and all that kind of stuff, I think the reality is the Kansas City Chiefs is a hell of a team. And if you're not paying attention to the talent that Patrick Mahomes has, if you're not paying attention to the coaching ability of Andy Reid, Pacheco is a hell of a running back. Sky Moore definitely has his moments. Valdez-Scantling, big moments. When we talk about these individuals, we talk about these situations and these playmakers. The one guy who can go out there, Watson, Gray, the individuals who can go out there and really shake things up. We already know what Kelsey can do. He does it. At what point does the Bills have those individuals? That championship mentality, that design that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win no matter what. It's not something that I'll tell you this right now. It's not something that you just wake up with. It's something that you inherently do have to have, but you don't just wake up with it, right? You don't just, oh, you know what, today I'm a winner. No, you have that in you, and you have to dig that out of you if it's in you. If it's not in you, you probably shouldn't be anything fucking competitive. That's just the reality of it. If it is in you and you haven't shown it yet, you have to dig that out of you. And unfortunately, I do feel like that's where a lot of the players on the Bills are. I think Josh Allen is right there. I think he's right there. I think he's at that point where, okay, I can go out here and win. I just need a little bit of help. I think Josh Allen's right there. I think Dawson Knox is there. I think Dalton Kincaid can get there. I know a lot of people hate him. I'm not going to get into the political garbage, but I'll tell you this right now. Cole Beasley had it. I wish we still had Cole Beasley, because Cole Beasley had that winner spirit. He had that winning mentality. He'd go out there and catch that ball. He'd get you those yards that you need to get a first down. That's a whole other topic, whole other story, because I know some people are upset about things that he did, things that he said, whatever. But the reality is this: the man had a winning spirit. And unfortunately, I just haven't seen that yet on Sean McDermott. I haven't seen the winner spirit on Sean McDermott yet. And it sucks, because I want to see it. I want it to be there. I want the man to be great. And I want this team to be great. And if you've been watching this team for how many ever years, you've sat there and asked yourself, where is the spirit of the win? It's just the reality of it. Shout out to Javier. It's the same coach, same bullshit. Listen, I'm not the only one saying it. And that's not to say that I'm even right, even though I am. But I'm not the only one saying it. That means people see through the cracks, because it's very, very easy for someone to hop on a podium and tell you, trust the process, just believe in it. It's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. It's one game. We're going to look at the tape, right? Here we go. You ready? This is my brush, but here's the mic. So, Alan, we've seen it was a tough game out there, and you ended up throwing 2 interceptions, and what do you think that you could have done different, Josh Allen? Well, we're gonna go back and watch the tape, and we're definitely gonna talk to these guys, and really, really get the troops going. We're gonna rally the troops, and that's all on me. That's all on me. I got to be better. And I'm gonna get with these guys. We're gonna run through some plays, watch some tape, and then we're gonna go out there and treat next week like it's its own game. Did I give the best impression? We're going to trust the process. It's the same shit every post interview. It's the same thing. I'm not making it up. You guys watch it. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I get the loyalty. I've been loyal too. Nobody can sit here and be like, I'm more loyal than Jay as a Bills fan. You can't tell me that shit. I'm just as loyal as you are. But guess what? The difference is I'm not blind to loyalty. I'm going to call whoever out on their bullshit at the end of the day. That's just the reality of it. I can be loyal and talk about the realities of the issue and the situation so we can fix it, and I'm not going to have a blind eye to it. I wear the jerseys. I buy the tickets. I give away shit. I give away money in the name of the Bills all the time. So the reality is, when we have these discussions and we have these talks, people will get mad and upset. And, Jay, stop it. Why? Why are you doing this, Jay? It's supposed to be happy all the time. No, it ain't. Because if it was happy all the time, it wouldn't be life and it wouldn't be real. And that's the reality of it. Sal says McDermott hired Dorsey. Brady. Josh needs a strong veteran offensive coordinator like, say, Chan Gailey, who would coach him up hard like Dable did. That's huge because I think the Bills as an organization likes to hire from within, right? For those kind of jobs, quarterback coach, defensive or offensive coordinator, or you get what I'm saying. Hire from within from those positions, right? Quarterback coach, defensive, lineman coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coach, so they don't, and this plays back into the loyalty thing, right? They don't like really going out of the square or the circle. Got too many circles in your square. Got too many squares in your circle. The Bills are loyal, so they like to hire from within. So going and reaching out is something that rarely happens. And for that to happen, you're ready for this one? Drum roll, please. For them to go out of the realm of bringing other people in from outside, you have to get rid of certain people from the inside. That's how that goes. Bysock says for 3 quarters, Casey did whatever they wanted to on offense. Yeah. And at what point do we say that the Bills defense can't handle Patrick Mahomes in the postseason? Because if I give you that, right, I'm going to give you 25, 26 points. I'm going to give Kansas City that, right? Just whatever. We'll give it to them. Where is this amazing offense by the Bills that can put up 30? That's the point, because we know they can do it. It's not like Kansas City defense was doing all that amazing either. They were, don't get me wrong, they were okay, but they weren't the top defense. We know that the Ravens had that. The Browns had that. And then Kansas City showed up in the postseason, which is what a championship team does. But this is why we're asking ourselves, at what point can the right personnel make the right decisions as far as who the hell's on this damn team that can get the job done, even if other people are down and out? This has been waiting since 1968 at the Rock Pile. I'm 61 in September. Shout out to you, Buy Stocks. Man, listen. I feel it. Without a doubt. Shout out to you, Patty. Patty in the house. Lisa says, I've been a Ravens fan since 1966. I refuse to turn my back on them. Yeah, I mean, nobody's talking about turning their backs, right? I think it's just more of a tough discussion, more of a tough understanding as far as what's going on and the reality, right? Because when we get into the 2024-25 season, and we went to the draft and we figured things out there, and we've restructured any kind of contracts that we can, or we've made any kind of adjustments that we can. I'm going to be honest with you. As much as people are saying Von Miller should be gone, I don't think he's going to be. I think we're going to have to deal with him for maybe another year. Stephon Diggs, even if he gets traded, it's still a cap hit. Bills are $40 million over the cap right now. No matter how you look at it, the Bills are stuck with this current team, barring any people that they can draft and figure that out. But the Bills are stuck with this current team. So unless you get someone amazing that can add to the depth, or you can trade, or like, it's very difficult. This is the team that we have to deal with. So can this group get it done heading into next season? George says, whoever gets the best cookies and ice cream, I am in. Shout out to you, George. Frederica, good night. Good night. Yeah, get you some sleep. Working the devil. What's going on with you, Mortal? Mortal in the building. Let's go, man. Since I'm up and in, let's go. Yeah, man. All about that action. Yeah. Says Bills lose for one reason or another. It's tough. I think the Bills can get it done. All right. I would like to see it for a couple reasons, right? So you guys know I'm a stats man. You guys know that. Let me get into these stats. Let me get into these stats here. Open this up. Come on, Jay. There we go. All right. You've got Allen, 4,306 yards. James Cook, 1,122 yards. Stephon Diggs, 1,183 yards. Bernard, 143 tackles. He had a great year. Douglas definitely stepped up. He had 4 interceptions. So, look at this. Cook was absolutely phenomenal and only had 2 touchdowns. I get that Allen is a running quarterback, but let's feed Cook more. Let's get Cook the ball some more. Let's get him the touchdowns. Let's draw up the plays so he can take the hits and earn his touchdowns and earn his paycheck. It's great that he has all these yards, but for him to only have 2 touchdowns, that's not screaming production to me, right? You've got Murray, who's been great as well, but we don't see much of him. He played 16 games, 79 carries, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. How does Murray, who has 300 yards, have 4 touchdowns, but Cook has 1,122 yards and only has 2? This is what I'm saying. This is in regards to the play calling. Murray has more touchdowns than Cook. What are we doing? Let's keep it going. My goodness. Obviously, the pickup of Fournette. I don't know why we picked up Fournette, because he hasn't done anything. He's had 12 carries for 40 yards. His long was 9. Okay. Then we get to the receiving. Stephon Diggs. And just look at the disparity of the numbers. Stephon Diggs, 107 receptions, 107 receptions, 160 targets, 1,183 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. Long was 55. 2 fumbles, 1 loss. Gabe Davis, 45 receptions, 81 targets, 746 yards. His average was 16. He had 7 touchdowns. So when we talk about production, when we talk about, okay, yards versus touchdowns and, receiving and targets and things like that, everyone was hating on Gabe Davis. He's got almost, 500 yards less than Stephon Diggs, and he has 1 less touchdown. So what are we talking about? Are people really looking at the stats, or are they just talking shit? Which one? Because there were so many people, we need to get rid of Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis needs to go. Gabe Davis is a non-factor. Look at the targets between Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. All right? Let's break it down even further. Kincaid, 73 receptions, 91 targets, which is absolutely amazing, 673 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. His loan was 51. Let's start getting these other guys involved. Let's start passing this ball around more. Look at Hardy. Hardy, 15 receptions, 21 targets, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. Sherfield, 11, 22, 1 touchdown. Obviously, we'll get into the defense now. Bernard, 84 tackles, 59 assists. He had 6.5 sacks. He also had 3 interceptions. The man was amazing. Definitely stepped up, played amazing, didn't expect it. Glad that we got him. Look at Poyer. 67 tackles, 34 assists. He had 1 sack. No interceptions. Poyer didn't have 1 interception last season, ladies and gentlemen. Not 1. This is what I mean when I say that the team is changing. Who you see on the field in the next couple years is not going to be on this field in 5 to 6 years from now. So if this is the team that is going to get it done, they have to do it now. Let's keep it going. Johnson, 72 tackles, 26 assists. He had 1 sack. Getting into Dotson, 57 tackles, 17 assists. He had 2.5 sacks. Benford, he had 43 tackles, 11 assists, 2 interceptions. Hyde, 37 tackles, 17 assists, obviously no sacks. He had 2 interceptions. But once again, Hyde with his injury problems, Hyde with, not playing at the top of his ability, he's not going to be with the Bills much longer, right? Ed Oliver, 34 solos, 17 assists. He had 9.5 sacks. Ed Oliver's a beast. Does what he does. He even had an interception. Rapp, 33, 17, half of a sack. He had an interception. Greg Russo, 30 tackles, 12 assists, 5 sacks. Floyd, let's get into Floyd. 21 tackles, 10.5 sacks, ladies and gentlemen. The man's a beast. Matt Milano, 5 games. We know he was injured, but he had 18 tackles, 12 assists, 2 interceptions. Epinesa, 9 of 11, 6.5 sacks, 2 interceptions. I want to get into Von Miller. That was my point of breaking this down. Von Miller, 12 games played, 2 tackles, no sacks, no interceptions. What are we doing? You know what? I'm just going to say it right now. I'm not even going to hold it back. I'm just going to say it right now. I think Von Miller was the worst pickup for the Bills in history. From a money standpoint. I do got to put the little asterisk on there. From a money standpoint, Von Miller was the worst decision that the Bills have made probably in history. It's sad. It's unfortunate. And when you look at what the Bills paid versus the production that they're getting, it's nothing short of appalling. It's sad. And obviously, you can't just get rid of him because you got to pay him. You trade him. Nobody's going to want to put that amount of money into him. So you're stuck with zeros across the board. And it's just the reality of it. Just the reality of it. So I'm going to answer my own question. Has Josh Allen learned from his failures? And will Sean McDermott be gone if the Bills don't make the Super Bowl this year? Well, number one, has Josh Allen learned from his failures? I think that he has. And Not just from the point of, oh, I can hop on a podium and take accountability. But I think there's a different level of play in Josh Allen. I think there's moments where he goes out there and he understands that he can no longer be Superman. There's still the cowboy in him, but I wouldn't even say, tame the tiger, right? You don't got to tame the tiger. You just need to, train a little bit, right? He's still going to throw for 50, 60 yards, right? And majority of the time, it's where it needs to be. Obviously, when you've got a veteran superstar wide receiver, you expect him to catch some of these balls. So I'm not going to put that on Allen. I think that he's become better in his decision making and his running. I think he had probably one of the best runs by a quarterback this season. So I'm not saying that he shouldn't stop running. I definitely, appreciate his level of talent. I definitely think that he's worked much better as far as his decision making, worked much better as far as his taking a sack, throwing an interception, things like that. Now, when you look at the interceptions this season, there were a lot of times where it's like, all right, you try to fit that ball in there and it got bobbled up and then it got picked off. But then he would come back that next series and account for it. So shout out to you by Sox. Yeah, he's grew up. He's grew up. Now, the real question boils down to, how is Joe Brady going to use that? How is Sean McDermott going to use that? Because I'll tell you this right now. Josh Allen knows he's amazing. And when you have someone that knows that, everybody has their breaking point. And I definitely think he's going to have his breaking point as well if this team doesn't get to a Super Bowl. When that happens, that's going to be when he's learned from his failures. On the flip side, I think if the Bills don't make the Super Bowl and the 2024-2025 season, Sean McDermott should be gone. It's just the reality of it. And we need to call up Nick Saban. Somebody get Nick Saban on the phone. He ain't doing nothing. He can come coach. He can come coach. Somebody get Nick Saban on the phone, y'all. He can rally the troops. He can rally the troops for sure. For sure. Rand said Miller's signing was a big L. Huge. Huge. Shout out to Sal, says Josh needed a head coach getting the message loud and clear to his coordinator in the KC game with 2 minutes left. We want the ball with 30 seconds left. Call plays accordingly. After all this talk, and we've been doing this for like an hour and 18 minutes. After all this talk, and I think what's became clear to me is I have a lot of respect for Sean McDermott. And that's kind of why I've been careful with my words. And some people are still pissed off, which is crazy because I really didn't go in the bag that I could have went in. I've tried to keep it PG-16, if that's the thing, for the most part. I do, like I said, I do have a certain level of respect for McDermott, but I think I'm getting to this line where I don't care. Because if you don't win and you don't get there, it's time for it's time for the Bills to move on. Shout out to Immortal. Says Bo pick 6 isn't Josh Allen. Yeah, Bo Nix is different. He ain't Josh Allen. He ain't Josh Allen. Shout out to you, Tactical. What up, man? What's going on? Which is he is a gunslinger. Doesn't mean he can't chill and take smarter throws. You know, that's a big part of Josh Allen by design, right? And I say this because what do you expect Josh Allen to do? Right? You expect Josh Allen to throw a deep ball at least 4 times in a game. At least, right? He's going to throw that ball anywhere between, you know, 40 to 50 yards. And he can launch it. The kid, listen, I would never deny this man's arm. Is it going to be 100% accurate? Probably not. But he's going to get it there and then put someone in position to catch it. That's what he's known for. That's his game. That's what we respect him for. That's the hype. That's the, oh my goodness, that deep breath, right? Yeah, right. And then if it gets dropped, it got dropped. But then when it's caught, there's the praise. There's the he did it. There's the that's the Josh Allen we know. But once again, that boils down to those specific individuals who can go out there and make that happen, make that play. I've always told everybody that Gabe Davis was always my WR1. And the reason why I said that is because Gabe Davis was always the one that made those big catches, that made those big moments. And the moment that people stop seeing that, what did they do? We got to get rid of Gabe Davis. Stephon Diggs is the one. He's a superstar. And then what happened to Stephon Diggs? He didn't show up. Gabe Davis was out. So you needed Stephon Diggs to show up, and he didn't do it. It's not a one-man game. It's a team game. But your superstars are your superstars, and your role players are your role players. And the individuals that have to step up are the ones that know what they have to do. And if they can't do it, what does it mean? Immortal says you need that arm in outdoor stadiums. You mean indoor? Indoor stadium. Rand says they have to score 30 a game with no defense. I've said it. I've said it so many times. You can go back to the 23-24 Bills season breakdown before the season started, right? We got into the schedule and the depth chart and all that kind of stuff. I said the Bills needed to average 35 points a game. I said it. And then we didn't get that at all. I think there was maybe 2 games they had more than 35 points, maybe 3 if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back here and just confirm. Let me make sure I got my numbers right. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I got this up here. No. Let me bring this back up. All right, here we go. The schedule. 23. So regular season. Lost to the Jets, 22-16. Won against the Raiders, 38-10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 48. Lost to Jacksonville, 25-20. Won against the Giants, 14. I'm reliving this garbage right now. This is insane. 14-9. Lost to New England, 29-25. Won against Tampa Bay, 24-18. Lost to the Bengals, 24 to 18, lost to Denver, 24 to 22. Won against the Jets, 32 to 6, and then won in OT. Oh, sorry, lost in OT, lost in overtime to the Eagles, 37 to 34. Won against Kansas City, 20 to 17. Won against Dallas, 31 to 10. So if I add up the games where they had over 35 points, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3. I was right. Yeah, 3 games. 3 games where they had over 35 points. And this is a team that has the talent to do it. This is a team that can go out there and ball out and put up the points to be dominant and go out there and win. 35. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And then if you look at, you look at some of these losses, the Jacksonville loss, 25 to 20. The Bengals lost 24 to 18. The Denver loss to the man who ain't even going to be on the damn Broncos no more, 24 to 22. The loss to the Eagles, who just completely collapsed at the end of the season and then lost in the playoffs in the first damn round, 37-34 in overtime. Right? These are the games that you go back and you look at and you're like, really? But then you went on to beat Kansas City. You went on to beat Dallas. And you beat Easton Stick and the Chargers. And then you beat New England. And then you beat Miami. And then you get to the playoffs. You beat Pittsburgh 31-17. And you lose to Kansas City 27-24. So, yeah. Let's break this one down before we wrap this up. Look at this production. 26 of 39, 186 yards. 1 touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, 17 of 23, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pacheco, 15 carries, 97 yards, 1 touchdown, as long as 29, in your backyard, in Highmark Stadium. Allen, 12 carries, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can we get Cook more involved? Right? He had 18 carries for 61. Long was 8. Ty had 7 for 40, as long as 15. Travis Kelce was 5 of 75. Valdez-Scantling, 2 for 62 yards, 2 receptions. Rice had 4 receptions, 47 yards. Gray, 3 receptions, 16 yards. Over to the receiving for the Bills. Dalton Kincaid, 45 yards, 5 receptions. Khalil Shakir, 44 yards, 7 receptions. Murray, 3 receptions, 27 yards. Why the hell is Murray receiving? Murray needs to be in as running back. What are we doing? Stephon Diggs, 3 receptions for 21 yards in a damn divisional playoff game. James Cook, 4 receptions for 21 yards. Why is he receiving? Ty Johnson, 1 reception for 14 yards. What are we doing? What are we doing? And this is the play calling that everyone's been hyping up. Oh, yes, we did great. We're doing good, and we only lost by 3. Look at this. You've got Murray and Cook in as wide receivers. All right. Listen, we've dived into a lot tonight. I've answered the questions. You guys have answered the questions. There's a lot that's going to go into next year. Obviously, we're way, way far away from that. We've got the draft coming up. I'm excited for that, so we'll get into the draft. We got March Madness coming up too, so that's going to be fun. But when I look at these numbers, when I look at the level of talent and the expectation that I have for the Bills, it's not depressing. It's disappointing. It's a difference. It's not depressing. It's disappointing. With that said, I hope the Bills do great next season. We're obviously going to keep, doing these little deep dives as we move forward throughout the year. But I think I need shout out to you, Jeff. Yeah. I think we need to leave on this note. If you are a Bills fan, if you love football, if you're part of Bills Mafia, the goal is the Lombardi. Put that into your head, right? It's not the AFC East championship. It's not winning the first playoff game. It's not winning the divisional or the championship. It's winning all those and getting to the Super Bowl and winning the Lombardi trophy and bringing that back to the city of Buffalo. All right. That's what it's about. If you're fine with just, being the AFC East champions, hey, more power to you. But that would never be me. Because at the end of the tunnel, there is a nice, shiny uh, silver trophy. And I think that the Bills deserve it, along with its fans. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to the Rents Gang. Shout out to the family. Much love to all the listeners and watchers. Have yourself a great evening, and see you guys soon. Peace out.